Hey everybody, welcome to this new series on the progress bar and making it animated. So this was inspired by TJ VanToll's blog post for building a simple progress bar for your NativeScript app. So I thought this is really cool and it's very useful. Everybody wants a progress bar in their NativeScript apps. But how do we take this progress bar and make it cooler? So what we want to do is add animations to it, and we're going to use Peter Staev's approach to make it a little bit simpler. I'm going to start out from a blank Angular project. We're going to build the progress bar that TJ has in his post. Then we're going to simplify it a little bit according to Peter's approach. And then we're going to spice it up a little bit, make it look cooler. We're going to add JavaScript animations to it. And we're going to add RxJS animations to it. So let's get started with the first video, shall we? All right. So if you want to see the original blog post where TJ VanToll goes over the progress bar, you can see it right here at this URL on the NativeScript blog. This will give you the code and the markup. We're going to go through this in the first video real quick, and we're going to start from scratch. I'm going to create a new NativeScript Angular application using the NativeScript CLI and this command right here. Okay, good. Now I'm going to go into my project folder and I'm going to open it up in Visual Studio Code. So this is the default template that has a master and details sample. I'm going to go ahead and delete pretty much everything out of here. I'm going to delete the app component, the items folder. I'm going to delete the routing module, and let's go to the app module and clean this up a little bit, deleting all the stuff that we're not using. Essentially, we're starting from scratch here. By the way, I do have Prettier on, so you might see the screen jumping around a little bit when the file gets formatted, just like it happened now. So we're going to recreate TJ's original progress bar, and then we're going to add stuff to it to make it animated. So let's go to the app folder and create a new folder for our progress bar component. And this is going to be the first one we do in the series. I'm going to call it Progress 1 Original or org. Let's create the progress org component file here. And I'm going to create a new component using my Angular snippets. There's my progress org component. Now, I'm not going to do a template that's separate. I'm just going to do an inline template here because it's so simple. So this progress org component needs to be registered with the app module. So first we need to declare it. So I'm going to put it in the declarations array and I'm going to import it. And it's going to be the first one that we're going to show. So I'm going to put it in the bootstrap array as well. Let's save that. And let's go back to the article and just grab some pieces here. So here's our component markup. I'm going to grab that and I'm going to paste it here within the template. We don't need the constructor. We do need this columns property. And we need the ng-on-init function. So let's go ahead and copy that. I'm going to delete this ng-on-init. And I like to be explicit about whether my properties are public and my functions are public. So I'm going to make both of these public. And finally, we need one more function, and that's to set the progress bar width. Let's go back here and copy this out. And that's actually part of the class. So I'm going to make that private. And we also need to get these classes in our CSS, the class that's progress bar, that's for the grid layout, and the internal stack layout progress bar value class. So let's grab that CSS it's somewhere down here. Here it is. Let's grab this CSS, and we're going to just reuse the CSS for all our components. So I'm going to paste it in here in app.css. By the way, background should be background color, and this background color too. Okay, let's run this real quick and see what we got. And there we go. Now we have a progress bar, but it's set to 20%, so it's not moving. How do we get this to move? Well, we need to set some kind of loop that's going to simulate getting progress from a service or some other external source. That's also part of this article. So let's go down here and grab it from the article. Here we go. So we're going to keep this set progress bar width function the same. But in our ng-on-init, we're going to have the set interval, and every 50 milliseconds, we're going to have an update. So right now, you probably think, oh, this guy's just copying the article. I can do that too. But we're going to make a few changes. Don't worry. So I'm going to copy and paste in the body of this ng-on-init method. I need to get this % equals 0 in here. Okay, so what's going on here? Let's take a look. Well, we've got a progress bar that moves across the screen. It looks like it's animating, but it's actually not animating. It's just updating every 50 milliseconds by 1%. How can we make this more realistic? I mean, progress rarely updates by 1% and has a really smooth transition. Well, instead of doing %++ here, why don't we create a new function that's going to update percentages at random? Let's do that. I'm going to create a new file here called util.ts, and I'm going to export a new function called getNewPercentValue. And we're going to have a starting point, which is going to be a number. It's a percentage. And we're going to return a number from the function. Let's calculate a new value. I'm going to use math.floor, math.random, and that's going to give us a number between 0 and 1. We want to multiply that by 10, so we get a percentage. And then we're going to add the starting from so that we're not starting from 0. This way we get a number between the previous percentage and 100%. And let's also add 10 to it just so that it skips faster. And we can return new value. But also, we know that 100% is the top limit. So let's just cut it short if it does reach 100%. So if new val is more than 100, then we're going to just return 100. Otherwise, we're going to return new val. Okay, there's our new function. I'm going to copy the name of it, and we're going to go here and say percent is actually going to equal get new percent value percent. And I'm going to import that function from util. Let's take a look now. Okay, that was really fast. We're going to slow this down, and we're going to have an update, let's say, coming from the server. We'll simulate it at every 1 second. So let's take a look at that. Okay, that looks more like a progress bar, but it's not animated. We want to have it animated, don't we? Because it looks nicer. But before we do that, right now we're setting the progress bar width by setting the string for the columns, and we're doing this crazy calculation based on percentages and the syntax for the grid layout columns. And there's a simpler way to do this, and this was commented by Peter Staev on Twitter. So before we get to animating this with JavaScript and then later animating this with RxJS, I'm going to show you a simpler approach to the template here. So all we need is 1% value, and we're actually going to use that percent value as is without having this set progress bar width calculation. So hang on tight, and we'll see you in the next video. Make sure you subscribe and follow me on Twitter so you can get updates about videos like this and other articles.